What's up, everyone? I guess by now you've probably heard of OpenAI, the AI source that knows everything. Well, today I thought we'd test it out and see if it gives you the best information on Bethesda, Maryland if you were thinking about moving here. And my feelings won't be hurt if you choose the AI information. In fact, it would make my research a lot faster, and then I can make videos on any place in the country without ever having lived there.
Well, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
So let's just dive right in. So I put in the question to OpenAI, what are the top 5 pros and cons of living in Bethesda, Maryland? And voila, here's what it said. Then I looked at the videos that I've done on Bethesda, my pros and cons, 7 things I love, avoid Bethesda, which is basically just the cons, to compare to AI's answer to see, who's gonna give you the better information. So let's take a look and you guys decide. So AI's first pro says, located in the suburbs of DC, Bethesda offers easy access to all the cultural and employment opportunities of the city. So yes, this is true.
I agree with you.
But is it enough for you regarding the location of Bethesda? In my Bethesda videos, I do mention the proximity to DC. In fact, Bethesda borders Washington, DC. But I go a little bit further about how you can get into the city, for example. You've got the metro stops, the Red Line, which Bethesda has its own metro, and it will take you right into the city. I also give you some examples of things to do in DC to take advantage of, like the Smithsonian Zoo and the Smithsonian Museums, all the monuments, the mall. So I get into a little bit more description of what you can take advantage of by living in Bethesda. And finally, I even gave you an example of a day in the life. If you lived in Bethesda, how you can go into DC and what we did. We went to brunch, we did a wine tasting, went by the river. So I think for number 1, you may say it's a tie, and we both mentioned the proximity to DC from Bethesda, but I do think I gave you a little bit more description and gave you a little more information about why it's so nice to live there and how you can get into the city. Okay, let's move on to the second pro that AI gave us. Bethesda has a vibrant and diverse community with a variety of restaurants, shopping, and entertainment options. Well, yes, this is actually pretty obvious. I'd be very surprised if AI didn't mention this, because I also mentioned all the different restaurants that you have in Bethesda, but I go into more detail about the different festivals we have here as well. I talked about Downtown Bethesda, Bethesda Row, Bethesda Magazine's Restaurant Week, Savor Bethesda, and the Taste of Bethesda Festival, and just other Bethesda specialties. So while AI just did mention Bethesda has a lot of great restaurants, I think it's important that you hear the information from someone who lives here that can really tell you what it's like to live there and everything Bethesda has to offer, especially if you're a foodie like me. So I think number 2 is gonna go to me. Okay, number 3, the Montgomery County Public School System, which serves Bethesda, is highly rated and offers a range of educational options. Yes, this is true. We have a great public school system here in Bethesda, which is very highly rated. And I do speak about it a lot in my Bethesda videos. I think I go into more detail than just the general good school system here. I talk about the different schools, the different websites where you can look up the different schools. I mention them, I tell you their ranking. But ultimately, if you are thinking about moving to Bethesda for the schools, I always advise you to contact the schools directly or go on to the different Facebook groups of that school, talk to the parents, talk to the teachers, see if it's a good fit for your kids. So both AI and I can talk about good school systems or how they're ranked, but at the end of the day, I think that's a really personal decision that should be left up to each individual family. So this one, I guess we'll call a tie. So this next one, I have a real problem with.
That's not good.
Let's just read it. Number 4, Bethesda has a variety of housing options, including single-family homes, apartments, and townhouses to suit a range of budgets and preferences. I think this is very misleading. Although Bethesda does have a lot of housing options, they are all expensive. It's just a matter of how expensive depending on your budget. But the budget's gonna run from expensive to more expensive. So I do not think this is good information if I didn't know anything about Bethesda and AI told me this. So this one definitely is going to me. Okay, number 5. The area has a number of parks and green spaces, as well as access to recreational activities like golfing and hiking. Once again, I just feel like this is just too general. I mean, what city doesn't have access to parks and green spaces? In my videos, I do mention the different parks and green spaces, and I call them by name. I actually show you pictures and video of them so you can get a sense of what Bethesda is really like. But in fairness, I did a follow-up question with OpenAI, and I asked about the names of the different parks and green spaces. So AI gave me a list. The list wasn't terrible, except there isn't a Bethesda park in Bethesda. I'm telling you, it doesn't exist. There's a park next to Bethesda Elementary School, but there isn't a Bethesda park. And Woodmont Triangle, it's an outdoor space, but it's mostly just some tables in front of different restaurants. I wouldn't call it a green space, and I definitely wouldn't call it a park. The other 3 are worth mentioning, and we do talk about them. They are really great parks. And as far as country clubs, well, we have a lot of country clubs here in Bethesda. There's Bethesda Country Club, Congressional Country Club. There is Kenwood as well. There's a bunch of them, but they all require membership, and there's a whole process to get a membership to any of these private country clubs. So I don't think that's really helpful information if I was just thinking about moving here. So another vote for me. So let's quickly look at the first con they told us is the cost of living in Bethesda is high, with housing costs in particular being significantly above the national average. Yes, this is very true and always needs mentioning. I just go into more detail, but this is true. Number 2, traffic can be an issue in Bethesda as the area is located near major roads and highways. Yes, this is true. Traffic is really bad here, but it's bad everywhere in Montgomery County. In fact, it's bad in most of the state of Maryland. We're just a lot of people in a small state. But yes, this is true. Number 3, Bethesda can be quite crowded with a population density which is higher than the national average. Yes, this is true. It's one of the things I definitely talk about in my Avoid Bethesda video. It's just very crowded. Number 4, the weather in Bethesda can be hot and humid in the summer with occasional thunderstorms. If you watch my videos, you know how I feel about the summers here in Montgomery County, Maryland, which includes Bethesda. It's brutally hot and humid, probably from the middle of July to the end of August. And it's terrible, in my opinion, because I don't really like the hot humidity. And they'll always say it's 90 degrees out, but it feels like 104. So this is very true, and I do talk about this a lot. In fact, I'm starting to wonder if AI has watched my videos. And number 5, some people may find Bethesda too suburban and may prefer a more urban environment. I don't know about this. I actually think some parts of Bethesda feel more urban than suburban, especially if you're comparing it to Potomac or North Potomac. I mean, it definitely has a more urban feel, especially if you get really close to downtown Bethesda. So I don't think I would say that this would be something I would put out there because I don't think it gives you the most accurate information. But as far as cons go, I think that AI did a much better job than the pros, especially 4 out of 5. So what do you guys think? If you were thinking about moving to Bethesda, Maryland, and you just used AI, would it give you the best information? Comment below and let us know. I'm still gonna make videos. AI can't take you in the car with them and drive around and show you the different neighborhoods and really tell you what it's like to experience living here, at least not yet. Maybe next week I'll see what AI says about Rockville. I actually glanced at it and it was pretty strange, but that's for another video. One thing that you guys have to know is that when I looked into AI and their knowledge, it only goes up to 2021. So just be aware it's not gonna have any knowledge of anything after 2021. In fact, if you type into the OpenAI chat, here's what it will say. When I asked about 2022, it said, I do not have access to information about events or developments that have occurred after my knowledge cutoff in 2021. So I'm not out of a job yet. And if you are thinking about moving to Bethesda and you want to chat about it or you'd like our help, definitely just send us an email. We'll set up a Zoom. We'll get you started. I think OpenAI chat is amazing. I mean, right now we use Google to look up things. Why not ask OpenAI chat? I just don't think it's enough if you're thinking about moving to a foreign place and you really want to know what it's like to live there. But I want to hear from you guys. Definitely let me know. And if you want to know more about Bethesda, Maryland, or any place in Montgomery County, Maryland, or DC, or Northern Virginia, definitely check out our library of videos because we have a lot of different neighborhood tours, pros and cons, and just stuff you're going to want to know if you're thinking about moving here. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Bye!